Moving on to the next one, violence against women and girls. The last time the officials were here from the Executive Office, I asked to define what a woman was. Has anything changed within the Executive Office since that to discover if they've agreed on a definition of what a woman is? Because it's very, very important when it comes to, one of your flagship strategies is ending violence against women and girls.
I think, if I may cover that, I think my colleague said there wouldn't be a definition because they weren't going to define something that has an understandable meaning. Nothing's changed around that. On the funding, may have come back, Chair. I think the budget process is really important that it sits alongside the programme for government. Mm-hmm. We wouldn't have expected to go out in a draft consultation with a fully costed set of actions. This is high level priorities which will lead to a finalised programme for government with actions agreed, but that has got to move forward in tandem with the budget process. But I don't think we could cost at this high level. The costings will have to be done in line with the actions that flow from the process that Michael's outlined, that he's engaged in at the moment, looking for the right actions and targets to propose to ministers, and then financial decisions will be made by the executive in the normal way. Yeah.
Just to pick up on the violence against women and girls again, the last time I was told the issue was the violence rather than defining what a woman is, and it appears that seems to be still the same position. On the back of that evidence session, I was contacted by a number of people and they were asking me, what about women who fear violence from biological men gaining access to female-only spaces? Is that something that has been reflected? Or is that just still, we say things in this committee and they're not taken away?
I can't speak for my colleagues working on ending violence against women and girls. That they were here and they gave their evidence and they will have heard your concerns about that on the day. In terms of will that issue come out of the consultation exercise that we've got on programme for government, I'd be really surprised if it didn't in some way. Someone will express a view on that and that will be taken into account. We were talking in the team about how we make sure that what we hear on the programme for government consultation is fed back to people that have got to lead the work on the strategies. So, for instance, childcare and EVOG. So it won't be something that's done entirely in isolation. We'll be talking to our colleagues about what we've heard in the consultation.
Yeah, on the same issue, when I mentioned that there was a number of stakeholders had been engaged in that list, the officials couldn't name a single critic of modern gender theory engaged when they were looking feedback on the ending violence of women against girls. Will that be reflected?
You're taking me out of my work area, I'm afraid, Mr. Gaston. It's not something I'm close to. It
is important in here that this is the Executive Office Committee, that issues that members raise, do form part of the outcome. Otherwise, there's little point of us coming and scrutinising and asking questions.
Don't want to divide. So there's a couple of points there. I was going to raise the issue, so just want to raise this first. I appreciate the cut and thrust of politics, but some of the things Timothy is saying about definition of women, I find homophobic. And if it was sectarian or if it was racist, it would be challenged. So I just want to put that in the record. He's entitled to his view, but we're entitled to have a different view. And I honestly don't want that to be seen that that's the position of the committee, because if that's going to continue, we need to go around and ask everybody, do they agree with them or not? I mean, that's how strongly I feel about this. The other thing about